In this video, we will look at dimensioning. I've provided two sheets which you can print out as PDFs on my website under Dimensions, the engineering drawings. And I'm going to show you mistakes that are made for dimensions and the proper way to do them. So on these sheets, I'll have like several mistakes that have been done and the proper way to do it. So let's start off with the first. You have to have a space right here, here when you add your dimension. The improper way to do it is, see, you dimension not to the end. If you dimension this to the end here, you will get that little gap. Same here. If you were to add this dimension to the end and not somewhere else, then you get the gap. So the first thing you should do is always have a little gap between the actual object you draw and the dimension. Okay, the next one down here. Okay. Do not cross lines with other dimensions. So specifically this part. Okay, so don't cross. So look, this 2 is below the 8 and it's crossed the dimension line here. And over here, the 2 here is also past the 4 and it's crossed and interfere with the writing. To do this properly, you would put the 2 here, okay, and the 2 there, and the 8 here and here. Okay, let's look at the next one down here. Okay, dimensions too dark. Use the proper layer. So people will print out their items and they have dimensions on the wrong layer, on the con layer here, and they print out too dark. So if you use the blue dim layer to add the dimensions, they will be lighter. Okay, let's look at the next one here. Use the proper size. So this writing here should be the same writing as in the border. So you have to scale the writing by 4 for this particular drawing. So 4, whatever you scaled your border by. Here, the writing's too small. How can you tell? This writing should match the same size as the writing in the corner. Let's look at the next one up here. Do not dimension text interfere with drawings. Don't let the dimension text here interfere with the drawing. Bring it out so it does not go into the drawing. Okay. The next one, use diameter. So the whole diameter for a hole, like here. Don't use a radius for a hole. People will get a drill bit and they'll drill it out with a 2-inch drill bit. Here, for radiuses, there, or for partial circles, there, you can use radius. Okay, on the next one here, you want to dimension to center lines. I see this quite often. People dimension to the edge of holes. Do not dimension to the edge. Like, don't dimension here. Dimension to the center of the holes. Person making this piece wants to know where the center of the hole is, not the edge. Okay, let's look at this one. You should have nice spacing between dimensions. See, they should be spaced apart, and they should also be spaced outside the drawing a little bit more than spaced between. So here, dimensions should be at least 3/8 from an object, and they should be a 1/4 inch apart. Space evenly. Do not just add them all over. Space evenly. Okay, let's look at the mistake here. Always place overall dimensions. So always have the 2 biggest dimensions, the 4 and the 8. Don't do 2, 2, which adds to 4, and then 2, 6, which adds to 8. Actually have the overall dimension and then add the other ones. Let's look at the next one. Do not over dimension. Don't add too many dimensions. Look here, here's 4, 2, 2, 8. Here you got 8, 2, 6. So you don't need that 6. 8 minus 2 is 6. Okay, now I don't mind the odd extra dimension, but if you have too many, it gets cluttered. It does not look good. But 1 or 2 extras when you're learning is not bad. It's actually better to have a couple extra than not enough. Okay, use capital letters everywhere. So here you have thick, T-H-I-C-K with small letters. You should have it in capital letters. So capital letters are used everywhere in a drawing. It's just a standard. Okay, avoid crossing here if you can. Avoid crossing through there. This is still fine, but look, this is better. If you brought this up and dimensioned the hole up here, you have to cross here. You have no choice. Okay, you have to go across here. But look down here, if you can, you avoid going through the drawing. See here, if I put these 2 dimensions on top, I avoid the crossing down here. Here you don't have a choice. You have to cross. Okay, let's look at the next one up here. So you have to go all the way to the opening. So I've seen this mistake quite frequently that someone will dimension and they don't go to the opening here. They don't cross because they look at the other rule. But when you have to cross, you can. If you can avoid, you try to avoid. So look, it should go right to the opening. You should see where that dimension goes to, not stop short. Okay. Extend dimensions to drawing. So there's another one. So this has to go all the way down, has to go all the way across, just like it's shown here. Even though it crosses these other ones, that's fine. That's acceptable. Just don't do this. Don't stop it short so it doesn't cross. It has to go right down to there, and that has to go right down to there, right across to there. And finally, dimensions should be inline. So look at this mistake here. So people are just dimensioning all over the place. Try to avoid being inside your drawing as well. So don't go inside the drawing. So all over the place, all the dimensions are here, here, here. They go all over. As opposed to doing this, if you had them all in line, it looks much neater. With all these lines coming down, they'll be lighter than the drawing, and it looks much better than this. So if you can, keep the dimensions in line. Just line them up. See, nice in line.